tell the voice to come. Dinosaur Killer. My name is King Hobson, founder and CEO of Declay. And the purpose of my presentation today is to introduce you to a first of its kind fine art exchange that's bridging the gap between finance and fine art to classify your artwork as an appreciating asset. Now I know what you're thinking. When you hear fine art, you're not thinking Wall Street, you're thinking illiquid. But do me a favor. If you have a loved one who's currently pursuing fine art, but you're afraid to tell them it's going to be a tough road ahead, blink twice. Okay, quite a ways blinking, okay. So we have a good-hearted audience. That's how I gauge you all's hearts a little bit. But most artists, we hear things like artists starve, art is a hobby. But what we do not hear, and what I need each of you to tell your loved ones, is that art is an asset. Therefore, the primary focus should be, how do we classify our artwork as an asset? Well, naturally, we assume we have one of two options. We could take the gallery management route, but that lacks scalability, requires 50%, kind of have to know someone. Who I know. Let's do the self-management route, but that requires time and expertise that the average person just doesn't have. See, the problem with the traditional market isn't just that it operates as a closed circle, or that your loved ones may starve in the traditional market. The primary issue is that the traditional market is a freaking dinosaur. I mean, it's slow, it's dated, and it operates on ancient mechanisms that should be extinct. Since the beginning of time, when you purchase artwork, you're entitled to this physical sheet of paper. This is called your certificate of authenticity. It's supposed to be extremely valuable, yet it's often lost, stolen, forged, and simply put, it doesn't store value itself, and not to mention it's neglected during sales. I mean, how many of you have actually purchased artwork and received one of these things? My point. And as a result of neglected documentation, 90% of fine art trades today lack provenance, digitization, and structured finance. So how do we solve this? And what would be the benefits? Well, Declay proposes a third option. We allow you to register a smart certificate of authenticity for your artwork. Now, this smart certificate automates your provenance, it automates your appreciation and appraisal. We've standardized appreciation. And we also allow the fractionalization, making your artwork right for investors. So how many benefits would this come with? Well, I'll tell you, when you bridge fine art and finance, it comes with approximately 111 billion benefits. But before we get there, we have a couple next steps. We're penetrating the market using independent artists because they currently make up 10% of the total global revenue. So what this means, ladies and gentlemen, is that every year, $4 billion worth of artwork is sold with no proper management, no stored value, and no provenance, making this an opportunity that's ripe for the taking. And to initiate our penetration, we're conducting interviews with independent artists and collectors. This helps us gain user feedback and initial traction. We have influencers bringing their following to our platform, but our very favorite benefit is one word: enterprise. Enterprise partnerships with institutional banks make your artwork right for asset-backed lending. This means you can take out a loan against your artwork. We provide AI risk assessments, making your artwork insurable. But most importantly, the Series 7 holders and institutional investors and financial advisors, you know how the Wall Street, they have stockbrokers and stock options? Well, when you register your artwork on Declay, we provide your portfolio with art brokers and art options. And proud to say, we're tooting our horn a little bit, but we bootstrap 86K using these business models, and we operate at a freemium, 15% of every transaction. We have value-added services, and we also have B2B and B2C subscription models. And conducting these interviews taught us a couple things, like our direct competitors are Etsy and Facebook, while our indirect competitors are Etsy. Now I'm going to ask you this. Do you think they're satisfied? You all guessed it. Of course not. So we're looking at a trend where artists want to go independent, and we just want to give them the platform to do it. And as far as competitive advantages, we have customers who provide user feedback, We're non-provisional patent pending for our proprietary appreciation mechanism. We have insider knowledge, but most importantly, there is an irreversible behavior once you register your artwork on the dClay platform. Now, an army is only as good as the nation that's backing it. And backing us, we have Epicenter, who awarded us 2022 Non-Traditional Business of the Year. We have Silicon Valley's The Battery, and we have Boston's Cubic Labs, over 300 paying customers. But one of the biggest ones yet, and most recent ones, is NVIDIA's Inception program. And as I stated, I'm the founder and CEO. I'm a Scholastic Gold Key Metal visual artist. We have Wuhan Song, our Chief Operating Officer, who has 2 exits under his belt. And here are some of our advisors who helped us proceed even further, ranging in expertise from asset management, leadership development, and blockchain scalable solutions. Now we're raising a pre-seed. This helps us exit MVP and execute our go-to-market. But as my grandmother always says, we don't have a money problem, we have a people problem. So if you all know the right people, we're looking for institutional bank introductions, insurance introductions, financial advisor, and Series 7 introductions. And as always, it's a pleasure. Kindly scan our QR code and take your artwork IPO. And if you only remember one thing from tonight, I want you to remember this. dClay to the traditional market is what Netflix was to Blockbuster, what Uber was to taxi cabs. An absolute dinosaur killer. Now, who's about to kill this dinosaur with me? Here we go.
Judges, you're up.
Okay. King, I like you. I like you. I love your energy. I love the fact that I think you hit up every single person here before you came up on stage. You introduced yourself to my wife and her over here. You mentioned your name was King like 4 times. I love that. We live in such an Adderall, ADHD, Amazon Prime world that we're all checking our phones at the same time. It's like, so I knew your name before you came up here. It was great. I have one question for you. Can you count the amount of sleepless nights you've had formulating this concept and getting it to fruition? Can you count how many nights there's been?
Absolutely not. We've lost count.
That's all I wanted to know.
Yes, sir.
King's great presentation. I happen to be very close with an artist who struggles. So can you define fine art? Because we often have debates about the perceived what is fine art,
Okay.
and the NFTs versus the actual art piece. And is this an area that an artist could sell, or it's once they sell, they give the documentation to the owner?
You asked 3 questions.
Yes.
So Debbie,
And I'm done. I gotta cut myself off.
that's fine. So Debbie, we define fine art as something that artists created, whether it be oil paintings, acrylic paintings, sculptures, photography, dClay canvas prints. All of those are in the category of fine art. Now, as far as how the platform operates, what we learned when we conduct those interviews is that artists typically don't want to deal with the business side. They don't want to sell. They're horrible salesmen. They just want to create. So we created a platform where you just register your artwork using a digital certificate of authenticity, and we automate your royalties. When it resells, you get your percentage. We automate the actual sale of your portfolio, like how Wall Street has stockbrokers calling around the clock, but we have art brokers. And so we're just trying to simplify and streamline the business side for all visual artists.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is super cool. First of all, congrats on bootstrapping to 86K. That's no small feat. Yeah, like I bootstrapped my company, and like that first 100K in revenue is like damn near impossible. First 10K is like damn near impossible. But like the 100K, but like I will say after 100K, like you'll get momentum and it'll like keep going, and you'll be like at $1 million pretty soon. I would assume. One question I have about like your competitive landscape. So you had mentioned like Etsy and things like that. Where do you see like Artsy and Saatchi Art and like Sotheby's? Like, what's the differentiation with those guys?
When we conducted those interviews, surprisingly, none of them wanted to use those because they viewed those as like other online marketplaces. So Saatchi and Sotheby's,
yeah, Artsy.
They look at them as just your standard online marketplace where they're still going to have to do the business side. They're just uploading and they're giving that platform maybe 30 to 50%. Versus with us, your appreciation, which is the proprietary piece, artwork appreciates, but it's an inside circle to get your artwork to appreciate. Like if you buy artwork right now, you wouldn't necessarily know what it's going to be valued at next year unless you have those connections. Versus the standard artist who doesn't have that, we standardize your appreciation for the first time ever. We record your appraisal, so you don't have to pay the $500 an hour to hire an appraiser, because it's like the Zillow for an art portfolio.
Yeah, so there's like a big like network effects component to this thing, right?
Precisely.
And I guess like you know, if you got to 86K in bootstrapping, which again is no small feat, like why not just keep bootstrapping? Like why not just keep doing that?
Man, I told you.
That's solid. Like that's great from an MLR perspective.
Well, it's great, but when you want to scale and you don't want someone to come in and swoop, you really need to get these enterprise partnerships. We could get institutional banks on our side. We could get insurance firms on our side because we're already SEC regulated and everything. Get the financial advisors in Wall Street pushing artwork as an alternative asset. That the 86K is good on like a local, like personalized level, but to really boot this thing into the stratosphere, we need those enterprise partnerships.
I think you can do it without it. To be honest with you, we can talk later, but I think you can do it without it.
Okay.
Because again, not a lot of people can bootstrap to 86K. That's a good amount of revenue to be able to just to get you with no other outside. Like, did you fund it yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, that's solid. Yeah, we can talk later, but I would say just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
First of all, nice working, good presentation. Appreciate it. It's entertaining and thought-provoking. I have two questions. Maybe I'm sorry. No, I have two and a half comments and a question. Is that okay?
Of course.
All right. Question number one. I think with the state of the industry recently, with the art world being shaken up, not only by kind of like AI art and all of these like NFT tokens and things like this that have kind of changed the industry, I think you latching on to this industry in particular right now is really important, really good work, kind of just protecting kind of what it is and the human value to it and allowing artists to kind of stay self-empowered to kind of sell their own product.
Thank you.
So good work on that. Second one, half comment. What you said to me really resonated about artists kind of just wanting to make art and not dealing with the same with the business aspect of art. And that's kind of that's how our consultancy kind of works. We have all these excellent consultants and programmers and stuff that are just tired of having bosses, but they don't want to chase customers.
Right.
And that's, I think, like any kind of independent creative business where you're doing that, you're going to want somebody to kind of handle that part for you, so you can continue to do what you love, which is great. And now that I've taken up all that time with the comments, thank you for letting me do that. My question is, and maybe it's extending on one of your questions earlier, which is you kind of flash that certificate of, I guess, authenticity or what is the term, like heraldry, but
Your COA.
the authenticity of the art, which is like a problem. And to clarify, I'm not an NFT guy at all, like pretty far away from it. But this is exactly the type of the provenance. That's where I was. The provenance of the art is exactly like the type of thing that we've been told over and over that NFT was kind of meant to solve. And it's like taking the data out of your local databases, putting it on the blockchain. It's unchangeable. And I did notice. I noticed you avoided the term specifically, and just kind of curious about that. Whether you feel like it's been poisoned, whether you feel like it's a bad solution, or whether you feel like it's not the right solution for your business.
Not even that. When we conducted the interviews with artists and collectors, NFT is not something they can necessarily comprehend as simple as a certificate of authenticity. Everyone they comprehend a certificate, they've maybe seen one or heard of one. When you say NFT, they're like, what does that do again? Is that like some digital? But when you say we're gonna digitize and give you a smart certificate versus that little physical paper one that you would get back in the Leonardo da Vinci days, they comprehend that. So, it's just doing the research of psychoanalysis on what people could comprehend and digest a little better.
Good answer. Yeah. Nobody. You ask 10 different people, what an NFT is, and still get 50 different answers.
They would not know.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we've got two audience questions. No.
Okay.
All right. So, Merrick, if
Yes, we operate on a layer 1 centralized blockchain, which is of our own, where it's not necessarily the general public managing and running it. We initially started off using Polygon. Polygon, it just wasn't in our control. So when you're a startup, there's already high risk. When you're building on a blockchain, which is also a kind of more established startup, that's double the risk. So what we decided to do was just to centralize our blockchain and secure it using our security protocols that are proprietary.
And we have one more from Nathaniel. 70% of use of funds are on product dev, only 20% on sales and marketing. Why the split? What product features are you holding you back from sales? What advantages does NFT give? If your audience doesn't know or want NFT, why not just use a standard database?
So when it comes to the NFT, we have users right now who are actively using the platform and they have no clue they're on a blockchain. So the key to building any product is where they're using advanced technology and they don't even know it. So when you're using Facebook, or when you initially started using Facebook, you can say, oh, I'm on Web 2. You just got on a platform that benefited what you need at the moment. So what our platform does, we sneak that bit in there, advanced technology, to where you can use the blockchain in Web 3 and it functions just as smoothly as Web 2 or Web 1, and it's streamlined and simplified to where it's not a headache for the mass to wrap their head around.
Amazing. Let's give it up for King. One more question.
Cool. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Like the revenue you're generating right now, like how is that comprised? Like, is that fees? Is that like where are you generating that revenue from?
Fees and sales. So we have customers who buy our work, we generate fees from the
Right.
transactions.
So you're actually like doing like full transactions on the platform and you're capturing those fees.
Correct, yes, sir.
How many like, so is the metric like the number of artists you have or the number of pieces of art?
It's both,
Right.
but it's not as scalable as that partnership. But when you do it that way, it's almost like when you're doing direct to consumer versus
Right.
just going straight to the retail stores.
Right.
So we have to use both.
And like how many artists would you say you have on it right now?
We have about 300 artists.
Wow.
Yeah, about 300 artists.
And like what's like the average like bucket of art that those people have on the platform, like 10 pieces, 5 pieces or something?
Average, I can give you our average transaction is about $350.
Oh,
and
wow.
the average amount that they upload, it varies because they'll upload and delete and
Right.
re-upload, so it's kind of.
But you're not responsible for fulfilling that art, right? Like the artist does that? They
Yes,
tag it,
artist,
so
yes.
Yeah, so this thing is like pretty lightweight, like you're not holding any of this stuff, right?
I'm designing the company to be as simple as to where a kindergartner can run it.
Yeah,
Whether
yeah, yeah.
it be exit, whether it be IPO or acquisition,
Right.
it's a seamless process to transition.
That's cool, man. Congrats, dude.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much to King Hobson, and give him one more round of applause for D-Clay. Thank you to our awesome panel as well, and thank you for asking questions on our Slack channel. All right, we're gonna show off for the next person. Are you guys ready? All right, please welcome to the stage Eric Harris with his company, Canterbury MedTech.
You're welcome.
All right. Start with a question. More of a statement. We built an entire healthcare ecosystem on one unspoken assumption that everybody can stand. But when that assumption breaks, real people with real problems, with real pain, are often left behind or go unseen. That's the case for over 12 million Americans in the US who have spinal cord injury or disability. And one of those is my brother. He's been a paraplegic for over 25 years, and he's had his share of issues. But in 2020, when he gained weight unexpectedly, 15 pounds in 2 weeks, that's not normal. And it landed him in the ER. The question that everyone asked around him was, what happened? And I thought about it, I was like, wait, He doesn't have a scale to weigh himself at home. Of course he didn't notice that. But more importantly, I realized that our healthcare system hadn't built a tool for someone like him. I asked myself the question, what can I do? Well, my background, 25 years, I've been building products, platforms, solutions that can predict, that can act, and that can monitor at scale. NASA, space shuttle launches, done that. US Army, air missile defense systems to protect our troops in harm's way. Most recently, a Microsoft senior product manager, helping to take a product from 2 million to 20 million in monthly recurring revenue. But this wasn't a tech problem. That was my issue. This was a personal problem. So I dug in. I met the community. I met with veterans. I asked questions. I got to know caregivers, clinicians, people with muscle sclerosis, cerebral palsy, and anything in between. I asked them questions. What was their pain point? What was the issue that they had? And how were they trying to solve it? The answers, heartbreaking at best, but consistent. They guess. Most of them, 80 out of 100, said this one line: we haven't been weighed in years. You might be thinking, wait, why is that important? Weight is one of the fastest early indicators of something that's going on internally. For someone that has paralysis or an injury, that's big. So when you haven't had that happen, you're missing a crucial data point. So I did research, worked with engineers at Georgia Tech, built my own prototypes, did a lot of testing, researched what was happening in the commercial industry as well. Flew to Taiwan, Vietnam, Shenzhen, met with partners to figure out who can help me build a product that was durable, accessible, but most importantly designed by them, for them. And I made a promise that I was going to solve this problem. Well, it's been a long journey, a very long journey, but I have solved the problem. And what I have right here is one of those solutions. Canary is a patent-pending product. It's a smart platform. You don't have to transfer, and it gives you your weight. But my brothers, other people said they don't need just their weight. They needed more. So we gave them more. From one platform, 12 biometrics. I give them a complete view of their health, and I could do it in under 20 seconds. No transferring needed. And the best part about this, the thing that makes me excited, is do it at home. Building a product's one thing, validating the market, that's a completely different story. And that's usually where people fail. Well, I understood that this is a medical device. It needs to be in the ecosystem. So it means the ecosystem has to want it and need it. So I built partnerships, relationships, and most important one that I will highlight is retro research. Because after 8 clinic or rehab clinics in one day, living here in Vegas, driving down to Southern California where they are, I got my 8th no, and while in the car, Google found the CEO, was in a parking lot after the 8th no, decided I'm gonna walk in, I'm gonna try a new trick. Walked into the secretary and said, I have an appointment with Phil. Just Googled his name 20 minutes before that. Got the appointment. Not only did I get the appointment, that turned into our leading research partner. They're one of the top research institutes in America for spinal cord injuries. Traction is there, done a lot of work, done a lot of things, raised money, put my own money in. But most important thing that I figured out in all of this process, 300 plus weigh-ins, active, multi-sites, definite pilots with VA and others, was this. Insights is one thing, but if you can't do anything with that knowledge, the people don't use it. So we're using AI, AI's everywhere now, to help people figure out how to care better and be better. B2B, B2B2C is how we're going to market, because care is not happening in the clinics only. Living rooms, long-term care facilities, and everywhere in between. One of the biggest things that I realized with this was we have to make it affordable. That's what I started out with. I wanted the end user to be able to afford it. And so we're doing that. We're working on a 510K clearance right now so that we can slash that $689 price to sub 300. We want everyone to have health care. It should be accessible. And if we can do that well, we will make, you can see sooner, what's going on, you can act smarter, know what to do with it, and ultimately you can improve the outcome. Now, I skipped a slide by accident. This slide here shows one thing. This is hardware, you might think, well, that's just one and done. But that's where our competition has always stopped. We're doing software as well because we're going to enable people to see sooner, act smarter, and improve outcomes. Why now? That's a big question. But the ADA has already done that for me. 2024, they made a ruling that said by 2026, you have to have something that's accessible. The unfortunate thing is most providers aren't even ready for that. Well, we bridge that gap for them. Telehealth, home health, COVID told us that that's the way of standard of care. Unfortunately, the toolkit is missing a very vital piece, accessible equipment. We fill that gap for them. The healthcare system already spends money, $11 billion on pressure sores alone, and yet 85% of people will get one. That's the difference between knowing and doing. We have closed that gap. I have a team built around me, medical professionals, clinical trials, operations, management, finance as well. Our advisory board, they're doing this work. Manufacturing, they're working in the industry, etc. We have lived-in users as well. This isn't something that might happen, it will happen. We're raising $500,000 after what we already put in, including myself, because we're wanting to accelerate production. I'm going to China at the end of the month to finish up some mold development and then secure production lines because we're wanting to bring this to Vegas. Most importantly, I want to accelerate getting the 5K done. Why? Because accessibility is an issue, but it shouldn't be a price issue. Lastly, I know we can generate 2 million plus. That's just off the 1,000 units. But most importantly, I am proud of the fact that this journey has taught me a lot of things about the people that I've met, the care that they have, and those that care for them. And that is the end. That is not clicking to the next slide. But that's not going there. Yeah, there it is. So, my name is Eric Harris. I'm the founder of Canary MedTech. And we are now delivering peace of mind through data, access, and insights. Thank you.
Yeah!
Eric.
Yes.
Eric. That was really good. You make me feel like I'm one of the stupidest people in the room, and I thank you for that. No, in a good way. Like, it's just your path is serendipitous. Like, you went through this journey of, doing stuff in data, doing stuff with NASA, scaling businesses, and then this challenge is presented with. Family is family, man, and that's there's no greater motivator on this planet than family.
Yeah.
Right? I have one question for you, and this is more for everyone here that's looking to, persevere and grow in their businesses. What's the biggest gut punch you've taken on this journey, and how'd you overcome it?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll answer that in two answers, two stages. The first one, I'm not disabled in the way that most people see. And working with the disability community, that's one of the biggest challenges that they have. People that aren't disabled trying to solve a problem and doing something for them that don't know, don't understand, etc. The biggest gut punch was for me to tell myself, I don't know. And that also led to my biggest discovery, what I do know. I know the people that have the answers. And this product, my journey, has been part of that of constantly returning to the people. What do you need? And that's why I said, this is designed, the person that helped me design this is quadriplegic. Yet he's a material designer. And I infused that through the entire process in my journey as well as the product itself and what we're doing.
Eric, it's awesome. Your hustle, passion is inspiring. I also think what you've done here is giving dignity to those with disabilities, and I think for that is invaluable. So I thank you for your hustle and your inspiration. From a healthcare standpoint and from healthcare companies, what do you find is the biggest hurdle, or is the mandate that the at-home healthcare, is that helping, or do you still see some pushback?
I think in the medical space, and especially in product manufacturing, one of the biggest things is capital you need up front to create the product so people know what you're doing, et cetera. I didn't create something that was novelty, like new, but the concept of, especially with disability, they never had a product like this. So they couldn't even imagine what it would be like to have it. And that's just a mind thing. But within this space, the journey that I've figured out most now is regulatory, is understanding how do I get the institution, and the biggest thing that I would say is knowing who's the payer. And when I say that, this is something for everybody in whatever industry you are. A lot of times we think the customer is a payer or the end user is a payer, and that may not always be the case. They may be a payer at some point, but most of the time they're not the largest payer. Insurer in this case is the largest payer. But then it's like, how do you get the insurer to actually pay attention? And that's a hard piece. So we're doing that with data. There's a couple of companies that I've studied through this journey that have done this already, and they've exited quite well. I'm not after it for money holistically. I want the money to do this again and again, but the journey of how they did it, they also impacted lives, and I want to do that same journey as well.
And offline, we need to talk about the space shuttle, because I'm a geek, and
I know some people at SpaceX. Yes,
Sidebar.
I do know some people at SpaceX.
Yeah, this is super cool. I like the fact you have your own money in it. That's key. Skin in the game. That's number one. You gotta have your own skin in the game in it. So like you have 1,000 of those right now?
No, the goal is to get to 1,000.
The goal is how many do you have right now?
3.
3.
Yes.
What's it cost to make?
Ooh. You including molds or just the price per unit?
Like what's the total cost on it? Like how much does it cost you to make one of those?
Yeah, prototypes are much higher.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm just to understand the question, minus mold and everything, or including that into it, because I factored that in as well.
Yeah, everything.
550, but we're getting it down to 200 once we hit 1,000.
Got it. So $550, and you were gonna sell it for $2,500.
Yes.
Insurances.
So the market right now for something that's not even close to this averages between $1,500 to $3,200 for commercial. For consumer, that just doesn't exist.
I got it. So your biggest, like your thing you're trying to unlock is like how do you get this inventory so you can actually go and like sell the thing, right?
Yeah. Well, I have people that want it. I need to get the inventory to actually get it. They want pilots. So the VA wants pilots. Paralyzed Veterans of
Oh,
America
is that
want
right?
pilots. Blue Cross Blue Shield of California wants pilots because they want the data.
Right.
And they will pull it in. So my goal is to get the unison so we can do pilot data.
Yeah.
Actually go that route. Yeah.
So
Sales is going to happen after that.
Right. My wife's a pediatrician, and she sees a lot of like handicapped kids, right?
Yep.
Kids that come in wheelchairs and all that kind of stuff. And I wonder like, see the thing with pediatric offices is like they're not bought up by private equity, and they're usually just like there's just people in Vegas that just like own these things, right? And like that might be like an easier channel to sell to.
Correct.
You might not be able to sell it at $2,500, maybe it's $1,200, right? But you're still up on the COGS, right?
Yes.
And it's just an easier sale because you go try to sell it to like a Hopkins or to like a Cedars-Sinai or something like that. Like the bureaucracy you're gonna have to do to sell that thing internally is gonna be crazy. But if you can go to like, I only know pediatric practices, but like again, those are typically just like 1 or 2 owners. It's very easy to get time on that. You can just walk in there and like someone will talk to you, bring them lunch, right? That's kind of how that game works. You might have like an easier time doing that.
Yes.
And there's a lot of kids that are in this situation, And so, I would kind of like push you to like, hey, maybe try that channel before like trying to go get the Cedars-Sinai's or like the Hopkins, because it's just that's gonna take you 2-3 years just to close the deal. Maybe to even get a pilot, right?
Yes. Yes.
But maybe some of these other ones might be a little, or like occupational medicine, like that might be a good deal because those are typically just like private owned businesses. And I think like you might be surprised at like how fast you can close the deal there.
That's very insightful. I appreciate you mentioning
Yeah,
that.
good stuff. That's
And
super
you're,
cool.
you're correct on that. The goal, what we're doing right now, so the larger hospital systems definitely lagging on, like, they're the later end of it. We have LOIs with several smaller hospital systems and therapy clinics. And so therapy clinics, smaller hospital systems, and rehab. I have 2 units that are earlier prototype that are in a hospital system in Alabama as well. So the goal is to get more LOIs using the data from the VA and the PVA, and we'll use that channel to actually bring in and say, hey, here's the data we can do and provide. Here's what the tool can do for you.
Usually I wouldn't tell people to raise, but you kind of have to raise.
Well, I can bootstrap more if I need to, but I want to accelerate it. So,
you don't have to go like all.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
like-
I believe in it. And like I said, I have LOIs. It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
And I want to push time not necessarily waiting. So that's the goal of the race. And all of that's not capital, by the way. That is not all capital. So I really want to push partnerships that can unlock things to really get us into certain areas without necessarily needing capital for that.
Yeah, super cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Great presentation. I like it when people are trying to solve problems that they're close to. They're kind of like personally involved in, have a stake in the game. So nice work. If I was, and with due respect, I might be talking to a rocket scientist here.
Yep.
Yes. However, like if I was to think of 3 industries that are lucrative but very hard to get into as a new, as a new entrant into the industry, I would think of gaming, like pilot station optimization, obviously. I would think of like medical, and I would think of like government.
Yep.
And so like what do you see? Microphone closer. What do you see as kind of like? You probably see these risks down the line. Like, what do you see as your biggest risks to getting this product to market? There's regulations. All these industries are kind of run on like a lot of personal relationships, like handshakes. They know people. They're like, okay, you're gonna buy my drug, and I'm gonna do this. And yeah, so I'm curious, like, what your plan is to kind of penetrate those industry barriers, and how risky you think that is. That sounds very short, doesn't it? What are your biggest risks coming up?
Yeah,
But
biggest.
I'm really curious about that, because it does seem like a pretty big hill to climb from my point of view.
I appreciate that. It is a big hill to climb. I think the biggest motivation for me is that I said I was going to do it, and I'm a man of my word, so I'm going to do it. The other side of it, though, the industry, medical is hard. Within medical, manufacturing is actually probably the hardest. Well, I solved it. I literally solved it. And I'm not saying that out of pride. I'm saying that like I've kicked that one down. So the next piece of it is actually just getting more people to use it and showing what it can do. And with the data deposits that we already have, they want to see that at a scale. And that's the other piece of manufacturing a product that a lot of people may not understand is, can you do the same thing really well at the 1,000, the 3,000, the 5,000, the 10,000? Can that manufacturing actually kick in? Because that's what you're selling. The other side of those data. And so with like the giant for me is literally just pushing through that next piece and getting that pilot in place, getting the next big pilot so the VA actually says yes. They take a long time, but the PVA is actually moving faster, getting that done, and I think the data will speak for itself.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, and manufacturing is hard. I don't understand much of it, but I was surprised that your prototype cost was so low. Like,
Oh no, the prototype cost is not low.
500. Usually
That's
they will
the
charge you
per
for like
unit.
the die and the setup per unit, right?
No,
Like
that's the
they
manufacturing
charge
per
the
unit.
investment and the setup and all that stuff.
This scale, just to say this really quickly, can handle up to 1,200 pounds. Power chair and manual chair. You can also stand on it, put a dog on it, put a cat on it, put your luggage on it. And it folds, it weighs less than 25 pounds. Also, like I said, biometrics, I have some other things happening as well. And it's manufactured. So pediatric, geriatric, bariatric, all of the above, one unit can solve that problem. Oh, and it does fold, which makes it easy for a home health nurse to carry it, take it, and that doesn't happen today.
Home helpers, they move from house to house.
But they don't use scales, not today. But they will.
Brandy, do you use scales? No. My wife's a hospice nurse.
Oh no. Well,
So, yeah.
maybe I can get you on.
This is just my opinion, and it's something like, it's a Shark Tank thing, optics. And when someone comes in and they've got an amazing product, and here it is, right? I'm like, oh my God, it lights up. That your ask of 500 is way too low. We're talking now, you should be at like 1.5 to 2.5 minimum. You're swinging big lumber, my friend. And so big lumber that's a big raise. And so I just think that personally, just my 2 cents is, as someone that I put in 6 figures in my own thing, and a lot of panic attacks and sleepless nights, my friend, it's that 500 is nothing. And that's something I think, and you're right, and like you go through that, no problem. I just think that the 1.5 to 2.5 is more of a sweet spot,
Sure.
because then it shows much more, I think, intent. And I'm not questioning your mettle as a man and your connection to this thing. It just says, look, if you want to come on this journey with me, this is what I'm looking for. And I think that would open up even more doors for you.
That's a good point, if I may say really quickly. The reason why I'm not asking that much is I've already put so much in. I've already cleared a lot of the hurdles that I need a lot of manufacturing for. Literally, I'm going to China in 2 weeks to kick production off. So I'm not, there's not a lot of stuff that I need to pay for outside of that's already been factored and figured out.
Treat yourself to a lie flat seat. Like, you've earned it.
After my brother and others have
Earned it.
that first unit.
I see it all. You're right. I just think that's the line.
And I'll take it. I'll definitely take it, and we'll use it. But this is just the beginning. We have an ecosystem. I'm already working on 4 other products, and not to distract myself, but it's the data. Like, and we have to move fast. And that's why I said, like, a lot of people they try to swing for the fence and give me 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. And it's like, do you really need that? No, my next fundable milestone is this, because this gets in the door, this actually generates revenue by itself. This is self-sustaining. Once this sustains, that money is actually going to pump back into the company, and that will give me the revenue that I need to actually do the other ones. And so that's what I see. I don't know everything, but if you want to hand out 1.52, I'll take it. And I know what to do with it as well.
Okay, we have a few audience questions. Speaking of data, Omar wants to know, when you say you want to collect data, what data is that?
So data is up to the end user. At the end of the day, everybody's collecting data, and most of us don't even own our own data, let alone our health data. With Canary, what we're doing is bifold. One, we will collect data, so weight, all the biometrics that we have, the other sensors that we're collecting on that. What type of chair is the person using? What type of injury? How long has their injury been? What medications they may be? And this will be data that they can elect to give, and we'll collect the data, and we'll also help them use the data. Most of this will go into research to help expedite other things, whether it be drugs, clinical procedures, etc. The other side of this bifold, why I say it's two-sided, is we're working on a way now to give users the ability to actually profit off of the data. If their data is used in research and it goes to commercial, there's going to be something for them to do with that. There's some regulation and things we have to figure out, but that's the intent, because at the end of the day, I don't need your data. I want you to have your data, but I want your data to be beneficial, anonymized, and there's someone that also knows about that here. Anonymized, but profitable in the sense that you benefit from the collective of data that's telling the system how to build better products and better outcomes. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, Alicia has a few questions for you. Do you source your hardware components manufactured domestically? How might tariffs or other legislation affect product pricing or market demand? And then her last one was, what's your minimum investment?
I'll start last first. Minimum investment is, I was going to say 50K. It's 25 to 50K. 50K. They want to say 50K. Minimum investment is 50K. But with that, the reason for the minimum is we want someone that's serious on the journey. And this is one that we'll expedite really quickly. Going to the next question of sourcing locally or domestically versus et cetera. It's a mix. And this is the truism that no one really wants to speak about. You can say you want to bring manufacturing from China, et cetera. Good luck on the cost and good luck on the timing. I'm going to where I can get the products done as fast as possible, as good quality as possible, but also done well so that I can get the product and the outcome, not be stuck in trying to figure out how to maneuver on tariffs. Tariffs, I do have that figured out in the sense that I've been planning that along. One, I didn't want to necessarily go overseas directly. I was like, could I make it here? Yeah, that was hard. But the other side of it was, can I make it? And the fact that I've made, the next piece is now how can I make it cheaper or better, faster? And so that's the other piece of it. We are working with, I have a partner in Shenzhen and Jiaxing, and they are really good. They're good at what they do. Actually, funny story, they make all the LEDs in Vegas casinos. Good luck with that. So they know what they're doing. And the tariff side of that, they have that covered. I have a good partner with them on that. And as the tariff landscape shifts, we'll definitely manage that well. But we're going to be headquartered in Vegas. Manufacturing final assembly in Vegas. Hiring veterans and other people in Vegas. That's happening. So Not all of it will be produced overseas, and that's the end goal.
That's amazing. Okay, there's 2 more questions. Nathaniel wants to know, building is one thing, selling is another. I think you touched on this a little bit. What is your go-to market plan?
Man, which part of my slide did they miss? No, I'm just kidding. Go to market. Essentially, we're doing both sides. So we have partnerships that will that are pulling us into the ecosystem, and that's one of the best ways that I figured out. Like, instead of me going to try to educate someone, you need my product. If the partner that they're already using says this product is what you need, that's helpful. Second piece of that is data insurers. The insurer says, hey, use this because it's going to help you out and I'm paying for it. I don't have to pay for that. The insurance is paying for that. That makes it a lot easier for me. I don't have to sell to a lot of people. I need to sell to one insurer. And so we're going that route. Then the third piece of that is, as they were alluding to earlier, is going to clinic. And so we're doing that. We will have in that interlaid direct to consumer, we will be doing that, but we're going to use the other channels that consumers are already leveraging as a way to push it to the market. And they're basically pulling us in. And regulations helping.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, last question from Merrick. Can you please provide some deeper insights into how exactly you're integrating AI and why AI is the correct tool to leverage for that purpose as opposed to just being used as a buzzword?
That's a good question. So I slipped through it, but I'll say this as part of my credibility. So as a senior product manager at Microsoft, I was one of the co-pilot AI champions to help bring AI into Microsoft 365. So, and then also on one of the teams for responsible AI. Granted, there's a lot of people in there, so had my part. But AI, why use it? Being able to take insights, it can crunch data faster than almost anything, and it can do it at a level of sophistication that we just can't replicate. One side of it. 2, personalization. It makes things personal, and it can do that at scale. I can personalize. I mean, we're all using. If you've used AI, it's been personalized in some manner, and that's working. So why would I try to go do that differently? I'm not using it as a buzzword. We're definitely doing it on data. Again, the data that we're collecting hasn't been collected before ever in the home for this population. This is a new set of data. We're taking that data, we're going to overlay it on top of the data that does already exist. Johns Hopkins at Cedars-Sinai actually has a lot of data as well. And there's more than 12,000 data sets for disease control for people with spinal cord injuries. But it has been overlaid with this data. AI is going to help with that. And once we get that, when someone says, hey, I have this issue, like my brother, if you said, hey, I have this issue based on your injury, your chair type, and your time of injury, we can give you a personalized insight. That's something AI can do that I don't even want to try to program. And I've been programming. I don't want to do it anymore. AI will help with that, but it will do it at such a pace that will allow us to actually facilitate insights so that his aunt, so that the nurse, this literally happened. The nurse that came in and said, hey, we need to get you to the ER because your blood pressure is too high. But for someone with a spinal cord injury, that's a normal range. Well, how can I educate that nurse? AI can help with that. And I'm not just saying AI, labeling as AI. There are levels of AI, LLMs. I'm using natural language processing, using image recognition. I'm using a bunch of different things titled AI that solves the problem of making information available so that people actually know what to do and how to do it and care better. That's me.
Amazing. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Eric. All right. How's everyone doing right now? Good? Good? We feeling inspired by all of these entrepreneurs. Eric, you have done an amazing job on stage today. Thank you so much. Everyone, give him another round of applause. All right, I can't wait to welcome you and have our final presenter of the night. Please welcome to the stage Sharon Blecker presenting the Nega Doll. Sorry, just 1 second with this clicker. Lexi, can you do another raffle? Would that be fun?
We can totally do another raffle.
I can tell you a number. We'll see if she
All right. Let's see who's next.
All right, I just want to say the light is on. We are good to go afterwards.
Okay, 3, 9, 9, 1, 3, 4.
Nice table.
All right, let's try that one more time. One more time. Please welcome to the stage Sharon Blecker with the Nea doll.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sharon Blecker. I am the founder of NEA. NEA empowers children to thrive, mind, body, and heart. I want to start off by introducing you all to my little cousin. 2 years ago, NEA died by suicide. Prior to that day, NEA was a straight-A student, a brilliant pianist, a happy little kid. She was my best friend. She did show signs of depression. We adopted her at 5 years old, brought her over from Spain, and we got her the help that we were supposed to get her. Therapists had cleared her. Her teachers loved her. There were no real signs. A year ago, Nea came to me in a dream. We were sitting next to each other, and we were building this doll together. And as I woke up from that dream, I said to her, "Kid, I don't know a damn thing about AI. I don't know anything about psychology. I'm not the right person to do this." And I dismissed that dream. But as time went on, and it didn't leave my mind, I came to realize that dream was really about me. As a child, I was abused. It wasn't because I didn't have loving family or loving parents around me. It's because these things happen when you least expect them to happen. But as you zoom out from my story and from Nea's story, the really scary thing is that suicide today in the US is the second leading cause of death for ages 10 to 34. Suicide-related cost in the US average $6.3 billion. And even though we know this, all of our solutions and our tools are reactive. Therapy, you go to it when you have something traumatic happen. Parents today have nothing to help them be proactive in how they raise their children and how they coach them through trauma, which we all know we will all experience in some way or form. So my reason for being here, my mission, is to ensure that suicide is no longer a top 3 leading cause of death in the US for ages 10 to 34. And how do we do that? Imagine a world where, as a parent, you have a tool. You have a way to see how your child is developing, beyond what they are telling you, beyond what teachers are telling you. You have a secret weapon that allows you to understand what's really happening within your child's mind, body, and among their friendship groups. If they're getting picked on, you're able to know. If they're going through a hard time that maybe they don't feel comfortable talking to you, what if they had a source that they could go to that they trusted, that could coach them to understand, why do I get hot when I'm angry? Why do I feel out of breath? Why am I shaking when I stand in front of people and I talk? What if you had that day in, day out? And that's where the NEA doll comes into play. The Neuro-Emotional Awareness Doll. It is the first smart therapy doll. It will use biometrics to proactively engage the child to understand when heart rate is increasing, body temperature is increasing, and so forth. It will listen to tones as they're talking. It will engage the child in proactive somatic therapies, so envision breathing exercises. Or if I'm really upset, it'll help guide me to imagine that I have roots going through my feet, all the way down to the earth, imagining that my arms are branches, teaching me through play and gamification how to self-soothe, how to manage my own emotions, how to deal with life. So today I'm not here to ask you for money. My project is very early stages. But I am here to connect and share with you where I currently am. Our competitors today leave a huge gap. I'm not going to go into too much detail into this, but I want to highlight that NEA at the bottom the only solution that addresses the whole human. I talk about mind, body, heart. There's a reason behind that. Therapy usually addresses verbal communication. It forces you to rehash previous traumatic experiences. It doesn't do much with the somatic element. What is your physical body doing? What is your physical body teaching you? So the first item on here speaks to it being cozy. A lot of our competitors are robots that use AI that are emotionally intelligent, but they are hard. They dance, they play, they don't teach you how to hug, how to breathe, how to soothe. The second item on here is emotional intelligence through AI. Some of them do have it, but a lot of them focus more on education, play, therapy of different sorts with education. Our one major competitor, Moxie, just went out of business in November. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get over to the affordability piece. Real-time biometrics. This is key to understand who we are as humans and how our physiological responses tie into our emotional and mental well-being. NAIA is the only one that can offer that. From an affordability point of view, everything that is a robot is over $250. The only affordable element is a plush. The second item on here, this Lumberkins, and it's just a plush with an accompanying book that talks about feelings and helps children to process different traumatic events. You can pick and choose which book you want and which plush you want, but it does do a beautiful job of addressing the emotional element. From a financial perspective, what I want to accomplish with NAIA is to make sure that every child can have one. I want to make it incredibly affordable. Starting off with different subscription prices, hopefully I can keep it at $5 up to $50, and then the plush itself, pricing it at $50. But I talk about where I am. But first I wanted to let you know where I'm trying to go. So as I said, my mission is to make sure that suicide is no longer the top 3 leading causes of death in the US. And I am currently very early stages. We do have a website up. I do have a chatbot demo up on that website. Currently working on the parent platform that will give parents visibility into how their child is progressing. It will allow parents to also configure what cultural preferences they have, religious preferences, what subjects you do not want us to talk about. Parents will have the ability to maintain that. From there, I am working on creating a community, hence why I'm standing in front of you. If you are a parent, I would love to connect with you. And at the end, I do have a QR code for you to be able to register and be a part of our journey. Next steps, prototyping and testing that will lead into our MVP at the beginning of next year. I am targeting millennial parents, primarily little girls ages 4 to 10. From there, we'll go into iteration, fine-tuning, and then the next phase will be little boys, non-binary, app add-ons, and then those little kids eventually become adults, and the market continues to grow. Today, I'm backed by a board that is highly skilled, very passionate, from different areas as AI, psychology, grief counseling, you name it. High level, we have 14.2 million little girls in the US. Of that, a portion of those little girls have already experienced traumatic events or have behavioral challenges. Some of them have both. Some of them have millennial parents that are more open to purchasing smart toys between price ranges of $50 to $80. If I take 10% of that, my first year's target for plushes is $100,000. Keeping at a price point of $50, we come out to about $5.2 million for the first year. On a tiered subscription basis, it'll equate to about $4.7 million for a total lump sum for year 1 of $9.28. And that is the Neuro-Emotional Awareness Doll. The QR code on here will take you to the website. The website you can route to the demo itself. You can talk to NAIA. She is the starting point. And you can also sign up for our contact list where I will share and invite you all to be a part of this journey. Thank you.
Amazon, or where is this going to find a home? And also, full disclosure, I have my stepdaughter's 16, my daughter's 15, and my son is 9. And I use, my son has been mimicking my behavior. Whenever I say no, he goes like this. I went to ChatGPT. And I said, hey, I have a wonderful 9-year-old son, blah, 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 blah. And they gave like a really good thing, but I'm like, to have something like this would be amazing. And for an older kid would be great. So I see a need for this. But in terms of sales, what's your gut telling you of where it's going to go?
I think we'll start off e-commerce, completely open to Amazon. I want to test it out with the MVP to see the data that we can get from parents and then go from there. There's options for partnerships directly with school districts, with hospitals, insurance companies, but I really want to start with getting the feedback from our consumers. So starting with direct to consumer.
Love it. Okay, thank you.
This is great. It's unfortunate that, we have this issue in the world in the States. Sorry for your loss. We were talking before, and just the need for children, and we're talking about men as well, to be able to have like a safe space to go to. And how do you think you'll overcome parent challenges and kind of helping parents to navigate through the data that's coming in? And do you think that you would partner with, you have a panel of great doctors and stuff, but how do you see that working and being a cohesive environment for both the child and the parent?
Yeah, so one of the things that we really want to focus on, and you hit the nail on the head, is there's a fine line between respecting the child's privacy and trust so that they want to continue to talk and open up, and giving parents visibility into what's going on with their child. So a couple of things that we're doing. Number one is starting the community, gathering people that are willing and open to this, that are excited by the idea, who are parents, so that I can address exactly what their pain points are and design with intent to meet those pain points. From a safety point of view, from, you name it, AI, massive world. So making them part of the journey is a big piece.
Yeah, and I think a follow-up, as you had said, and people grow obviously into adults, it would be such a great world if on a baby registry, this was part of the norm, and then we would all know how to process our feelings in a world that's becoming more complicated. So I think it's great. Thank you.
Yeah, this is really cool. Obviously you have like a tie to this, and you gotta have like a drive to do it. I think like one thing you'll have to figure out is like kind of like what are like the virality effects of it. You see like a lot of these other like kid products, like there's like a viral thing where like if you have a Nuna stroller, every other parent needs to have like the Nuna stroller or whatever it's called, right? It's like this like kind of virality trend kind of thing. I think maybe one easy hack you can do is like just like slam the Reddit forums. There's all these like parent Reddit forums, mom Reddit forums. There's like so many subreddits and things like that. And if you can figure out a way to kind of like hack that to your advantage, where again you don't want to be like shamelessly promoting the thing, but you can figure out some like tactful, elegant way to do it. And I think you can kind of create those effects pretty easily. And I think we were talking earlier, and I think you might have like some like affiliate angles you can do here with like child psychologists, child psychiatrists. They see a lot of these issues, child pediatricians and things like that. Where you can probably figure out like some affiliate networks and be able to kind of leverage that to get these in the actual hands of parents. And I think like you probably need that many. You probably need like 100 parents, maybe like 200 parents to like get this thing and have a positive experience with it. For them, like for the Reddit forums to kind of take off on their own, right? I think the key is like how do you get that like first 100 to 200 to use it and have like a really solid 3-month experience with the thing. And then I think from there, it's like, you can probably scale the thing up pretty quickly. And as we were also talking about, there might also be something around like creating more of these, right? So creating a universe of these dolls that can do different things, like how the Beanie Babies guy did it. Like, that guy walked out with like $4.6 billion because he kept making these. Because that way you can also get like a repeat customer. So like the one child actually becomes like a 3P, 5P, 10P, just because the kid then wants them, right? And they really like these things. You create this kind of universe that they can be, kind of immersed within. Same thing that how Pokemon did it and all these other guys did it. But I think if you can solve those two things, like one is just like the virality moment and getting those first 200, then I think sky's kind of the limit there.
Sharon. I think from my point of view, it feels a little bit too early to be jumping into marketing, though it's never too soon to start the hype machine, building up that audience, like drip marketing, like we have this cool product, all these things. But you did mention you're in a pretty early stage of development. Looks like you have no hardware at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a chatbot prototype.
Yeah, and it's on a Raspberry Pi.
It's on the Raspberry Pi. Cool. And so I guess I see some potential problems to solve, and they're not necessarily. I guess they are sort of business problems, but they're also kind of user experience and psychological problems, which is that like as a parent, I have a 15-year-old son and a 16-year-old daughter. Kids are pretty fickle, and it feels like kind of like they're very fickle. Okay, not a necessary qualifier. And you're targeting children, girls from 4 to 10, which is a pretty like it's a small in numbers, but it's a pretty broad age range in like the development of the child and what they like and what types of toys they like to play with and things like that. And I saw you had other things down the line, like as children grow older and maybe like adult products. And it should let with it, but it's an exciting industry to me. I see a lot of research in similar industries in Japan, not necessarily for children. The opposite problem is true there. There's a lot of research being done into elderly care, loneliness, mental health care, and just making sure that elderly folks are entertained and engaged and stay active and healthy and all that. I think it's kind of a similar problem, maybe.
Yeah.
But I guess my overall question now that I've had all this qualifying information is, do you have a strategy for kind of like product growth and retention and things like that? It's like my daughter has her favorite toy is something that I won for her like at a claw machine games, and she used to carry it with her everywhere. Now kind of just like stays in her bed. She doesn't really play with it. She's moved on to other toys, electronics, technology, things like that. So maybe the biometric piece works if it stays in her bed, but obviously not like walking around and like it's not taking her active heartbeat during the day or things like that. I'm just curious like how much thought you put into it, like what your plans were for that type of thing.
Yeah, so there's a lot of research on toy psychology. Why do children play with like a massive box instead of like the latest gadget that's rolled out? And the big driver is that the giant box can be a giant ship, it can be a rocket ship, it can be whatever they decide that it is. Yeah. So one of the things that we're trying to do is to make sure that we're keeping it light enough so it gives full creative freedom to the child. So purposefully not going after a robot that can do all of these things on its own and making it a plush, so it drives that creativity. There is always that risk that the child's going to grow tired of it, and then there's different things that we can do, such as like they can change out what the skins look like, if you will, get whatever it is that their new taste buds apply for. And to your point, the preference of a 4-year-old to a teenager is completely different, so that's why I get the continued buy-in. The other piece that helps with continued loyalty over time is that you have further customization, you have a partner that knows you more and more. There's a user journey that we're also creating that allows for the soul to come into the avatar. So it's almost this emotional connection. I use the analogy of How to Train a Dragon. So there's this bond that's created that will keep a child attached to it over time. There's different levers that we can also pull through AI for gamification, different things of that sort to engage more proactively. And then last but not least, parents. Parents having visibility into how their child is progressing, they can also suggest that their child plays with the doll more. So that's our secret weapon on top of it too.
Yeah, I like the idea of emotional attachment, though I also feel like it's kind of a fine line to tread, especially when dealing with children, where it's sort of like people will look at it and see it as manipulation from an early age, and you really have to. Yeah, it's a very fine line.
Yeah. So one of the core things that we've plugged into the framework is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So it talks about self-actualization. We are not building codependent little babies that grow up into codependent adults. My vision is that this is an AI solution that allows people to make independent decisions from algorithms, Instagram, etc. We teach that through the activities that the doll provides, the stories, the songs, and everything is interwoven into it.
Thank you. Like I said, I love the idea. I just think there's a few little problems to solve and have like quick
Sorry, non-medicated ADHD, so stuff keeps something up. So I was Mormon LDS for 13 years, and the Mormons are breeders, man. They're just breeders. And I would be when you're ready to go to market with this thing, you want to find like the big Mormon mom influencers and get these things in front of those women, and then they're kicking out kids like it's no one's business.
I have a list, my target list.
Go, sister, you go. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, there's just
One general question from the audience that people want to know about. When you mentioned Moxie closed this year, what lessons have you learned? How are you going to make sure you don't fail in the same way they do? So if you could kind of touch on that, people are curious.
Yeah, I think it kind of comes back to trying to do all of it, trying to do too much. So Moxie was a robot. It moved on its own, it engaged, it had a screen, it did so much. I really want to keep the core of this focused on emotional intelligence and support. So it's going to be pretty much a simple design on the outside, but really focused on the powerhouse of the AI chatbot inside.
Okay, amazing. I think that's it, you guys.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Can we do another round of applause for Sharon? All right, we're gonna do the last final raffle.
Okay, it's 399152. 152.
Going once? Oh, we got it.
We got one? Woo! We got Jeff's wife in the house with the winner. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Can we get a round of applause for our panelists as well? Thank you so much for their awesome expertise and just being here tonight. Before we go out tonight, I just want to say again, please come to LinkUp. It's our monthly lunch and learn. Food will be provided there as well. Thank you guys so much for being here at LevelUp tonight. We hope that you guys enjoyed everything and enjoyed all the presentations. What a fun way to be with the community and just be here. Take this time to network, socialize for the next couple of minutes. Feel free, enjoy your night. We hope that you guys just had an awesome time. Thank you so much for being here with us. We're Startup Vegas.
That sounds like me. I didn't say them, it's probably it wasn't a time. I said it got muffled all the way out. It was not meant to be said. No, so across the point. Right. If nothing else, it like lets you give you an A/B test on it too. Like that's Eric. Yeah. You know Eric. Say hi. I'm pretty sure I
Oh, it's our friend Ian.
Oh, Roy, nice to meet you. Right now, I'm trying to get a job in the Bay Area.
Starting point. So they can't get away with it the same way. But here's part of the challenge is we know different things, so I don't want to be naive and listen to we haven't talked about all our startup waters, but so moving in that setting. Okay. So simply put, the way we conceptualize the internet is there's a set of DNS markers we all agree with that line up with my campus, and that's how we write it. It doesn't have to be that way. We've just all decided that's our source of truth. But we go to like the host.com file on the computer, be like Facebook's IP is actually Josh's servers, and I can build Facebook.com on those servers, and you type in Facebook, it goes to that. Okay. So that is the foundation of just quickly touch on IPFS. So IPFS is a different networking file. You do it in AWS. So if I had an image file, so IPFS. So we have site.com.
I know I have. That was like there were like 3 hours online today.
So the way done the IPFS at all?
But for now, it's just an educational program. But if like we're probably going to be placed in like residence industry. If they do all that, they're going to get like I don't know how much money to start my
We've got an IPFS.
my dream is tech, so I'm just probably going to.
That becomes the new central source of truth of what is on it. So we will get a file to that. That's like suing a torrent file. And then anything that hits that giving service next asks for that hash, gets served that file. And it has nothing to do with football with anything else. So in the example you're using, if you had the giving service they'd actually be able to essentially have themselves and nothing else is happening. And that opens the door for saying, anybody who knows something on the internet, take that out of the office and make theirs on the internet.
Then I'm probably going to go. I'm taking a Stanford class.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I'm probably going to visit my professor at Stanford again. I'm probably just going to be in there.
So
I'm in it right now. It's like the US, it's like talk about this good always. He let like get like
yeah, I was so glad that you cared. You're like, here's this product. Oh, I can tell you this cool thing I want to do. Because there's a frame of reference that'll make sense. Because you can have them, you can layer it from like subnets. They basically have their own universe that only they look at. And on the IPFS main site, there's database engines based off of it, there's real-time messaging protocols based off of it. There's all of these different ways of and so it's sort of like Frankenstein with there. But it's enormously powerful. Like, how do you explain this on the internet? I know. They say, okay, well, yeah, he sets my servers. But what if I saw over there decided to have like
I got there like LinkedIn.
and three devices that never had that server had the thing. All that thing. And it was normal, all the same fucking internet cables and everything that's already running. It just looks like normal encrypted traffic. But meanwhile, it isn't touching any traditional main service. And so when I look at the infrastructure like because I live in the country, I can freely
This 15-year-old. He wasn't 15,
and then
he was like, he was like first comedian.
very would you like? This is the thing, right? Because I spent so much time with the weeds, it's like, oh, they went to Facebook.com. It's like, it wasn't Facebook.com servers. How would you even think to know that question? And let's pretend you know that. How would you even be? Okay, 5 years ago, the DNS for Facebook, you wouldn't. And so, yeah. Anyway, that's. I'm reading for you. Yeah, because it's you basically take one device and say this device is the server for this, and it's the intending server. So NFTs here's the thing: it's an intending service. Whatever you want to do, there's no rules because it's a fucking kingdom. And so like that's the level of economy that gets me excited. So now, take that one step further. Imagine that sitting on an edge device, and that's where you're storing everything for your agent to navigate through everything. Now you have persistent storage across it. So we should build that. Yeah. So do you want to build that with me? That's wonderful. So I had a chat with my partner on Big TV today. This is going to sound bad, it's not. So he's renounced all of his entrepreneurship, so to speak. Here's the problem. About a year in, his dad got sick, he had to take over the family business, so he couldn't participate. So he's been sort of forced to the sidelines for the last couple of years. And so I told him about 10 months ago, one of the pieces, either an engagement plan or an exit plan. I don't care which. Right. So the chat is, if these two guys, oh, they still like to get on board, but I'm not sitting on 100% ownership of it, which doesn't mean reevaluate. Like, it's exciting because it's less of a variant. So basically, he's got half 20% equity. He basically waiting all the time because of his non-engagement. Which means I'm sitting on 100% in the black, not by like a ton, but completely in the black, freestanding plus all of it. So that's what he said. I'm excited about partnerships generally, but like, yeah, because the thing is, so for people like, oh, I love how you like, right, I'm on the cloud. It's like I have to go like 7 more steps to get them to the point where they, and then I'd be like, and then you do this, and they'd be like, I don't get it. Jacksonville, Florida. Keep coming up, man. What's that?
Duval County.
Duval County. D-U-V-A-L. Duval. Come in Vegas, dude. It's fun here. You'll be loved. Wonderful. I did not offer it to you. No. I said I was willing. I started by asking you a qualifying question, and you said that you didn't really. I would have happily given it to you, but you're right, it is okay to. Ma'am, here's the thing.
Letting air.
No, I'm not. No.
Letting air.
This here.
Look, I'm gonna be hiring all the moves. And this my friend, I let him in the door.
Yes, he did. He let me into the door. Wow. You're letting New Zealanders in here.
Yeah,
This is an immigrant.
Yeah, man. You might not have noticed I'm black.
I didn't notice.
We all do.
Look, here's the thing with this. We're all cool with each other. Facts. Not yet, but you will be.
Then I need to get some lighter jacket.
You gotta stop wearing the jacket.
No, man. Stop wearing the jacket.
Okay, so it gets to 113 degrees.
Outside.
Outside, right.
Most of the time y'all have air.
That's a smart thing, yeah. That's what the jacket is.
All right,
Ball.
there you go. All right, you see.
Yeah, so close the circle. Models that you can deploy on a device are enough to be like an agent that's going to be an agent advocate, but it needs to be autonomous on the hardware of the user. So that's where you open the door to being able to do the bidding service. You can do capital, you can use the money stored on the device without having to use like a ton of it. So there's a lot of it, you use like a few things, right? Josh is flying, he likes to fly economy. They just get to the bottom of the plane, it's fine, it's big ticket. Make sure she likes to fly at the front of the plane.
I always on flash class.
I've never in my life fly first class until I got married.
I have once, but I got a second camel class.
Yeah, no, it's terrible.
I can't do it.
It's just cheap.
I hate to do it.
No, I hate it. I hate it. I have to do it. This is very special.
I don't mind.
21F.
That's right.
It's the front of the front.
Yes, we got.
Right, we get there first, we get off first.
I get there last because I hate it so much. And then I get off first because I hate it so much. What's that? Oh, I believe it. I used to have to take Santa. I went through a lot of therapy to get to the point where I just hate it, and I'm not that afraid of it. Is there something particularly bad going on? Turbulence?
Yeah,
Well,
I was in the
besides
fucking
that,
air.
right, I was in a plane with a bunch of weirdos. Yeah, I know. When I'm going to be up there, I completely agree. I'm with you. Hate it. If I ever got really rich, like stupid rich, the first thing I would buy would be a private jet and a pilot. Because then I'd go everywhere. Yeah. Make it happen. Yeah. Life goals.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Everybody is pushing something. So much data, it's almost crazy. Just on those 37. Oh, you're a little stressed today. It's like, I thought I like ice cream. Rainbows are cool. And my favorite days are Friday. It's like, are you bro, you can be honest with me. We're like, whoa! Boundaries. And so with that, if you have, so actually I had a call this, actually I got a very interesting call today. There is a group of attorneys in New York City who were like completely siloed language models to be financial analytics, never touching anything outside the system. And I was like, this is expensive. And they're like, we know. And I'm like, that's awesome. Right, so but in that sort of architecture, you can take like a cell phone that has email, and you could fit an enormous amount of context on that. So that when you're Yeah, that's what.
I'm not considered to be leaders.
Also trying to talk to the camera at the door. And like all of the orchestrations could be coming from that device. Now we have now the peasant uprising can begin.
No more cattle tracks.
That's right. Well, so this would be like one of oh yeah, right. Yeah. Well, like, so the thing that I generally don't like about the one-off is there's an aggregate usually less money than a mass market. So, but like, honestly, it's just good fucking money for interesting work. Getting paid to actually do it?
So like I
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I very well may be on this. If you're having conceptually an agent level device, a device that is naturally going to be able to see what's going in and out of it, you've got to be in a place you can observe it. You can say, look at it, comes out, and analyze it. Yeah. It's so funny for me, like, oh, the last one's 130, or like they've just been playing text for 80 years. They're like, how do we solve this problem? This problem was solved like 30 years ago.
yeah, but it is actually interesting because I think like that really is what the problem we're trying to solve. It's not technology.
Yeah.
And they were fucking gobsmacked when I started saying this problem. We're just going to make it into a trend. The data is not going to be is there trend? Right.
Yeah.
We're just really what's going on in front of us. Yeah. And I use the word entropy.
Oh.
It sounded really
Yeah. It's a good word.
Yeah.
because no one knows what fucking really means.
Well, it means chaos, right?
It's
yeah.
naturally
destroying itself.
You're both right.
Okay.
It's because of chaos. I think chaos, the world is
It's the slow grind of death.
That's another way of putting it. Yes. Thank you. But yeah, that's what I've been coming around with.
Because the other fun thing is like a lot of times it's good to have like some cloud. So like we've got like some stuff we can top off. So like so for example, a lot of folks are confused about web wallet, like the wallets, crypto wallets.
Yeah.
So I made 4 or 5 myself. There are web wallets. So you could create an account and it would automatically make a wallet, and you could just access it in the browser, just like a PayPal wallet balance.